to this. Okay.
Recording? Good. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining. And I'd like to welcome you to the Yolo County Fire Safe Council meeting for April 29th, 2026. The first item on the agenda, after calling it to order, the first item of the order, we've called the meeting to order. Second item on the agenda is to approve this agenda for this meeting, unless anybody has anything urgent that we need to add to this. So either speak up now, or we just need a motion and a second to approve our agenda.
I move to approve.
Thank you, Don.
KB Valley seconds.
Okay, motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. Okay, hearing none. We'll move on to agenda item number 3, which is to approve the meeting minutes from the March 25th, 2026 meeting, and that was sent out last week by Tanya in the meeting packet. Hopefully everybody had a chance to review those, and again, looking for a motion or second, unless there's any corrections or amendments noted. Speak up now.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
I will second.
All right, thank you, Jesse and Don, and for a motion and second. Not hearing any other objections, I'm going to go ahead and call the question. So, all in favor to approve the minutes? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Nay. All right. Thank you. That stands approved. So we're now on to item number 4, which is the any brief member announcements, and that's just open to anyone here on our call. Or members, I suppose, but yes.
Okay, I have one. I'm going to share my screen again. This is from, I just got this today. It's from the Solano County, or the Pleasant Valley Fire Safe Council in Solano County, through the Solano RCD, is having a biochar kiln workshop on Saturday, May 18th in the Winters area. So not far from Yolo County. And the kiln is this, we use it up in Rumsey, or CAL FIRE used it up in Rumsey. It's just a more clean way to burn brush, and also safer because it's an enclosed, it's almost like a giant burn barrel, but it's not really a giant burn barrel, but that's the best way to describe it, or like a small metal swimming pool. Anyway, I would highly recommend, if you're interested. We at the RCD purchased, the Yolo RCD purchased one, and Solano RCD purchased one. So I'll put this form link in the chat. But I thought you guys should know about it because it's pretty cool. Get this link in the chat, and awesome, it's a sign-up sheet. Okay.
All right.
I do have an announcement.
As I say, is there any other announcements, or are we?
And this is actually also a Solano County thing, and I see that Brianna, the county coordinator, is here, but I wanted to share this awesome flyer. They're having a community preparedness day for Solano County, but all preparedness is applicable to everybody. Well, this will be down in Vallejo this coming Saturday.
Yes, thank you for doing that. I was gonna mention that, but you took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, if you have anything to add.
No, just that if anyone has family or friends in the area and they want to come by, we'd love to have. The more people, the better.
Cool. Okay. Any other announcements? The other one also is Solano County is their Fire Safe Council meeting this coming Wednesday has been canceled. So if you're planning on attending that, it's on Zoom, but not this Wednesday.
All right.
Okay.
Ready for the presentations on the projects?
Do we have folks here from the Cape Valley? Well, let's move on to regular reports, I guess, and see if what happens because I did not reach out to them, but I was assuming that they had all the information they needed to join the meeting.
Okay.
So regular reports, before I start this, I wanted to ask folks or just get a sense if people are interested in having an in-person meeting at some point in the near future. Or is this just too convenient?
Where would the in-person meeting be?
Well, actually, Esparto is always a great spot because it's centrally located between Winters and the Cape Valley.
Yeah, we have a little hall we could probably
I know
use.
you have a delightful little hall.
Yeah.
I just thought I would check, but I don't see a ton of interest. So
I'll certainly open to it.
okay, just something to think about. It's not something we need to decide or even vote on. So two regular reports. I see we have Battalion Chief Donnie Privet here. If you would not mind doing a CAL FIRE report, we would love to hear what is going on in our region if you are available.
Yes, I'm available. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so once again, we're fully staffed, 11 engines, 5 dozers. One dozer's at the academy till June, so that's why we have 5. We have 3 crews. I think there's more, but the report said 3 today compared to Canocti and Delta. 1 copter. And then the week of May 4th through the 8th, the issue training, so the crews will be busy getting certified. And then this weekend's gonna be pretty busy with the Stony Ford rodeo. And then Chief Gilbert informed me that there's a cowboy camp horse ride May 2nd. So they'll be going from cowboy camp over to Jude Davis Trailhead Lake. So FYI, that should be it. And I could say that for your burn barrels or char. I call them burn barrel too, even though it's not. We shouldn't say burn barrel because that's not what we're burning. But it looks like a burn barrel, but it's huge. It's over 6 feet wide or so, and they do. It's easier to use. So if you have any money for the end of the year or grant money, I would purchase those or at least get one and have them in every area or a couple. They work very well for burning the brush, and you don't have to burn like a pile and walk away from it. You can just throw it in there and it just consumes it pretty good. So they're worth their money. In the report.
Is there some permit required? Like they have to follow burn days and all that good stuff?
Yes, you still have to follow, like if it's a burn day or not. We can't burn if it's not a non-burn day, but if it's a burn day, then you can put your stuff in there or preload it. And if it's a burn day, um, I wish we could start earlier than 10 o'clock. I mean, my guys are ready to go at 8 or 9, but it's like, what is it, from 10 to 5? but we don't have to worry about putting line around the places. We don't have to worry about any of that type stuff. You throw it in there, and it's basically consumption burns inside the barrel or that container, and then goes from there. So if you see what posted it up here, uh, it's really worth the time and the effort. I wish I was smart enough and I was part of this, and you make a lot of money making these.
Yeah, the Cal Fire crews from Brooks used them on some eucalyptus work near Rumsey and love them. So yeah, if you can attend the workshop on Saturday, that would be Saturday the 18th.
The only downfall from it is you can only make like we're used to just making a bunch of piles and burning them and have a bunch going at the same time and being done with. You can only burn until it's done. Then you gotta let it cool off, and then you gotta move it and then start all over. That's the only downfall of it, unless you have a couple going at the same time. We're used to making multiple piles and burning them and getting the job done faster or easier and more productive. But this does help when you can't use burn piles. You can use this. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and for a homeowner with a slightly smaller project than the one you guys were on, be perfect. Anyway, thank you for that report. Our next is Office of Emergency Services, but I don't see Christopher here. So that goes to me. As you saw in the coordinator report, we haven't been doing a ton of on the ground work this month of April. I did have the Delta Conservation Camp cruise along Highway 128 for 2 days on the 1st the 2nd and 3rd of April. So they've been really working hard on that section of road, and we're getting close. We'll have another day with them on May 22nd. And then they're doing a lot of training this month, as Chief Privet said, and they'll also could be quite busy with other fire-related things. So that's the on the ground stuff. Just on Monday, we're starting a shaded fuel break along Dry Creek, just north of Highway 128. It's adjacent to a neighborhood in Winters. So we'll be working with the California Conservation Corps there. So they'll be coming out and doing limbing and thinning. A pretty light touch because there's a lot of walking. It's kind of steep, and we'll have the chipper. So we'll be cutting, hauling, and chipping, including some arundo or giant reed or bamboo. It's a lot of that super flammable stuff. So we're excited to be getting rid of that. In terms of other projects that are also happening soon, next week or the week after, we'll be starting to do the grazing at they call it the Gray Pine Ridge property down below Positas. It's sort of between Bobcat Ranch and Positas, the Positas community and Highway 128. It's pretty unmanaged, so we're really happy to be able to bring some of the fuels down. It's going to be a fairly light touch in terms of not grazing down to a nubbin, because we don't want to do that. There's some yellow star thistle that should be controlled because our timing is really good to do that. And then, as you recall, a couple months ago, this group approved some extra money to do some more grazing around Rumsey. So we're planning that project as well. And that would happen probably later in the month of May. There's also, I'm really excited, and maybe you guys can talk more about this when we get there, is the Winters grazing is starting to get off the ground for the community. And if you guys want to talk about that now or during your report, is up to you. But I'm pretty excited about that happening. The other thing on the agenda is the Native Seed Working Group. Recall we had our presentation from Julia last month, and then we met a big group of people and some serious plant nerds got together to talk about putting together a list that would be approved by this group of plants that are less flammable and doing some potential test burning out at the farm in winters. And that sounds fun and exciting. So it's sort of a subcommittee of plant people, because I noticed when Julia was giving her presentation, she was using all the Latin names and probably losing a few people. So we can get more technical and then we'll continue to update this group. And then we have a potential new project. I think I may have mentioned we did some work up in Rumsey around Road 42, where it crosses Highway 16, and there's some more work there. Actually, the California Conservation Corps may be able to help us with that. So I think those are the big main ones that are going on, which is actually quite a lot, and they're all happening at once. So it's been quite a month. Does anyone have any questions about RCD-led projects?
Hey, Tanya, this is Karen Young. I have a question for you.
Okay.
What are you doing with all of that Arundo biomass you'll be pulling out of Dry Creek?
We are chipping it, and it is not going to be chipped and put back into the creek. It will be chipped and left on the bank. And if you chip it smaller than a few inches, it will not be able to sprout, and it will also be dried out.
That sounds good. I was wondering about whether it could go into a biochar kiln.
Oh, that would probably be a great idea. That would be a conversation to have with the landowner, and it's also in town. So also a conversation to have with our Winters fire chief.
Cool. Well, if that happens, I'd definitely like to come help and watch.
It would be pretty wild because Arundo burns very brightly and quickly. Good question. Any other questions about all those projects?
Yeah, Tanya, whose sheep are you using for the Positas thing?
Those will be perennial grazing also.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And it's that project, the property is 17 acres, but there's a section of it that's just way too steep to even put a fence in, much less animals or vice versa. So it'll probably be more like a 14 or 15 acre footprint.
Still pretty good.
Yeah, it's an unmanaged piece of property, and so it'll be nice to have some attention. Any other questions? Okay, off the ground, grant updates. So some of my time is funded by the California Fire Safe Council, and that funds some time for Allie to do her amazing outreach and for Kate to do grant writing. And that grant we got an extension, which is actually more money to do more work for another year and a half. So we'll be able to continue to run the Fire Safe Council, continue to do outreach, continue to help communities with outreach, which is also really huge, and continue to write grant proposals as needed for the community. And the next item is the Prescribed Burn Association. Allie.
Yeah, not much to update on the PBA. We hosted an RT 130, which is an annual refresher for folks that are firefighter type 2 certified. That was at Lake Solano. It went off really well. We'll be hosting more trainings in fall and in the coming years to continue that refresher course and other maybe potential like more tactical training. So yeah, more information as that happens. For burning, we're working on putting together some burns for spring. We're not sure if they'll be open to PBA volunteers just yet, but Bailey's working on that. So yeah, more information will come through our mailing list. And then for outreach, address sign, and chipper program updates, we had two chipper days, one at the end of March and one on April 17th, I think it was. So we got out to, I think it was 6 or 7 properties across those 2 days. And then I just talked with our chipper crew lead, and we're thinking we're going to host another chipper day in May. I think we decided on the 15th or the 29th. So right now, 15th or the 29th. Right now, we only have one property on the list. So if you have chipping that needs to be done, definitely fill out that interest form and I'll reach out. That's for folks that are in the Cape Valley and West Winters, and then certain neighborhoods in Dunnigan and Zamora also qualify if you're in a high fire area. So I can drop the link in the chat for anyone who might be interested in that or sharing with your neighbors. Same goes for our address sign program. So I think that's it for me. Just a quick update there.
Hey, Allie, I got a PDA related thing for you.
Mm-hmm.
So we did that pile burn workshop up here in Rumsey a month or more ago, and kind of identified the gray area between like agricultural burns and then pile burns on like non-agricultural, like large properties, right? And the way that air quality views the two of those.
Yeah.
So since then, Bailey was able to help one property owner up here, who is my dad, burn a large pile on our property, and go through kind of the regulatory hoops that are involved in those things being labeled as prescribed burns. And I've got another property up here that I'm trying to connect with her on. It was previously a walnut orchard. All the trees were dead when the new property owners took it over. They took them all out and have been trying to figure out exactly how the heck to get these things burned. So the PBA has been a really willing and really good resource for anybody who's not sure how to navigate that. I would highly recommend any of these other member agencies or folks out there have people in their neighborhood who are scratching their heads trying to figure out how to get rid of a large pile. It's a great resource.
Yeah, Bailey has worked a lot with the Air Quality Management District and probably or maybe knows their bylaws better than they do. So she's a great resource, and I'll drop her email in the chat for anyone that wants to reach out to her to ask her questions about burning or pile burning, broadcast burning, or getting involved with the PBA. So thanks for shouting her out, Jesse. She's great.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool, thank you. Any other questions or anything about work on this side of the creek before I kick it over to Karen from Solano RCD? Okay, Karen, Solano RCD.
All right. We do not have a ton of on the ground stuff going on at the moment, but as you mentioned, there was that RT 130 that went pretty great. Thanks for highlighting that, Allie. We do have some grazing work starting up in Quail Canyon, ideally next week if nothing changes with the schedule. And that is where a whole bunch of sheep and some goats from perennial grazing will be hanging out before they hop over the creek to graze on the Yolo projects. We've got a little bit closer on the calendar, the May 2nd Wildfire Community Preparedness Day event happening in Vallejo. This is Solano County's annual event for Wildfire Preparedness Week, and this is going to be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Vallejo Ferry Terminal in the big parking lot area there. So it should be great views, hopefully not too windy, and a good opportunity to learn about what's going on with fire prevention efforts. Pick up a few informational pieces while you're there. So hope we can see some of you at that event. And in other news, I think that's it. We're still working on figuring out the final details on our permits with Department of Fish and Wildlife for our tree removal work in Pleasant Valley. And that's about it for us at the moment.
Well, thank you.
Karen, you guys had an awesome plant sale at the brewery, and I got to spend all day on Sunday planting my monarch garden. So thank you.
Woohoo! I am glad that you were able to get your plants in the ground, and thank you. Yeah, I thought you were out there. Thanks for joining. Yes, we did have our plant sale this past Saturday out at Whereas a Brewing Company, including a fire resilient landscaping workshop from Roosevelt.
Cool.
That's
It is now time for Community Fire Safe Council reports, and we will go in alphabetical order with the Cape Valley. I know Moira is out of town. Jonathan, are you
I'm prepared to.
reporting?
Yeah. So for Severa, we did have our first of two planned community members cleanups, and it was a good bit of work, but it's been done there several times, so we've gotten the process down. Plus, a little bit of heavy equipment makes the grass go down, but the late rains are adding that additional challenge. But our first of two is completed.
Excellent. Thank you. So we also have a new-ish Fire Safe Council to the north, the Colusa County. And Colusa County, if you picture it, is very much similar to Yolo, where most of it is agriculture. And then they have the super high fire hills. So they're getting going. I've been to a couple of their meetings, and I'm really glad to welcome Shelby here to check in and also give us a little update and tell us what you're doing up there in the north.
Yeah, thanks everyone for having us. It's good to be connected to other fire safe councils nearby. And as you heard, as Tanya said, we're a newer fire safe council, but we are excited to be working together with mitigation and response authorities to educate the community. That's a big part of what we're working on now. So through the California Fire Safe Council, we have been working on some outreach and education materials that we are distributing to the community. We haven't started that outreach and distribution yet, but we've been coordinating with the Fire Safe Council and other community leaders to build a product that people are actually going to pick up and find useful. So with some feedback, we've gone from a multi-page guide with extensive information to something more like a brochure or a small trifold. So anyway, we are really trying to get people to, just really regular things like know your zone, sign up for alerts, pack a go bag, these sorts of things. And so with this outreach and education campaign, we're working on getting information out into the community. We also have a Fire Safe Council meeting tomorrow, in fact, and we'll be talking a little bit about our CWPP update that we'll be undertaking soon. And yeah, more about this sort of guide turned handout that we're working on. And we're also applying for another grant to support all of these activities and potentially and are working on another grant to maybe bring something like a PBA to our county as well in the Mendocino foothills, in places like Wilbur Hot Springs and Stony Ford. So we have a lot of sort of hopes and visions and dreams for the Fire Safe Council and our fire program here at the RCD. And we're just trying to sort of see what sticks at this point, to see what the community is really telling us that they would like to see and be a part of and benefit from. So we're in the storming phase, the brainstorming phase for a lot of projects, but we have a lot of good momentum and are looking forward to hearing from folks and learning about what's going to be interesting and effective. So thanks again, Tanya, for the opportunity to get to hear more about what you all are up to and to share as well.
Thank you for joining us. Our next neighbor to the west is Napa Firewise. And I saw Sherry here. Sherry Gardner from Napa Firewise.
Hello. So we've been busy still with lots of different projects around the county. And we had a really great meeting with some fire safe councils and the Bureau of Reclamation at their Lake Berryessa field office. You know that there's a lot of water that comes out of Lake Berryessa for Solano County. Highly recommend the field trip if you have the time. Their staff is wonderful, hanging on by a thread these days, but it was really, really, really helpful for the fire safe councils to get to know their local agency a little bit better. And thank you to Yolo and Solano fire safe councils for your support with the grazing. We pulled off a fantastic grazing workshop and a grazing tour of our year-round grazing program in American Canyon, with the city of American Canyon and Napa County chipping in. And I think that's a really cool project. We did a small tour of that, and then we've got a tour coming up probably in June for a grazing program out at Lake Berryessa Estates, which is going to be through the Good Neighbor Authority with the BLM. That will be exciting too, to see how that comes together. The community is very excited about it. They've got the BLM on one side and the Napa Regional Parks and Open Space District on the other side. And we've been doing some work on both sides of their community this year to get the fuels kind of managed. And looking forward to getting the community out to see this work too, and talk about that more. And as I mentioned, I think on a previous meeting, we do have a new fire safe council that extends from the north end of Napa County all the way down the east side of Lake Berryessa. That's calling it the Knoxville Blue Ridge Fire Safe Council, because we needed the longest name we could think of. And there's not very many residences out there, but people, of course, are very tuned into fire because they've had lots of experience with it, and also with grazing on the land. So that's exciting. And out of our grazing workshop, we're now going to be doing lunch and learns, not just about grazing, but we have one coming up May 16th, I want to say, Friday at noon. So I don't know if anyone is interested in that, or if you have anything to share, because it's going to be about doing the grazing collaboratives and co-ops. We've got a few communities who are interested in getting those going. So that's exciting for me, because I'm one of those communities. I currently have a grazing herd sample size 1, who's now, as of this morning, on the injured list, but I'm bottle feeding a baby goat again. And I think I've said this before on this call, but if you need an outreach tool, bring along a bottle fed baby lamb or goat, and people will flock to you, pun intended, to learn all about fire fuel reduction. We call them our fuel reduction specialist in training. And if we were a little craftier, we'd get them little yellow vests, but there we are. That's we've just so many different balls in the air, and of course we've been really busy. Actually, April was crazy for us. We had a whole bunch of events and Fire Safe Council events. We've got more Fire Safe Council meetings and community things going on. We don't actually have any Wildfire Preparedness Day events, which I'm a little bit mortified about, but we've got some things going on Sunday, so it's adjacent. Including, if anyone's bored on Sunday, the Angwin Flea Market, just from 8 in the morning till 1 o'clock. Kuyu, the goat mascot, will be there, and you can also look for all kinds of treasures from the flea market, which is a fundraiser for the fire department.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have anyone from the Pleasance Valley Fire Safe Council? I didn't see anyone, but one thing I do know is I bumped into one of the neighbors on Central Lane at the plant sale, and they have a new grazing cooperative. They'd had their sheep drop back in February, and they've been rotating. They've made one rotation through their community, and everybody is thrilled, and it's going great. So with that, let's hear from the West Winters Fire Safe Council.
Well, hello. So we had an HOA meeting in Golden Bear where we had pretty good attendance, and we brought up to them the sheep grazing option, and it's Sarah Kaiser speak, and we got a lot of interest. We sent around Mike McQuay sent around a sign-up sheet. I think we got 17 people signed up for the grazing programs speech that Sarah's going to do, and we're going to do it at Lola and Lyle's property, which they're thinking about being the sheep keepers for us because they've got a big property and plenty of barns and stuff to have them sheared and all that. So so that was kind of exciting. We've got a lot of interest. That's coming up on May 7th from 6 to 8. We've also identified, there's a couple of properties we've identified to try to work with some older residents in Golden Bear to clean up their properties as part of our Firewise group. And that's pretty much all I have to say this time.
Thank you. All right. So that is it for our Fire Safe Council reports from the community and also our neighbors. And it's really cool to hear all this activity going on. I think 5 or 6 years ago would have been a lot different. So if you had noticed on agenda number 5, presentation, is there anybody here from the Gwenda Grange or the Rumsey Community Hall? Okay, we may see them next meeting. I think that's it for updates and reports.
Okay.
So we are busy bees for sure.
Yeah. Well, so the schedule for the next meeting is Wednesday, May 27th. And I think given the time of year, it's another time for another update. So we don't want to necessarily postpone unless there's a lot of interest in that.
We'll have our Dry Creek work report, which should be interesting.
Yeah.
You know, something else that I just was thinking about earlier. So we have been meeting on the last Wednesday of the month, but this April had 5 Wednesdays, and there was some community or some confusion. Was it the 4th Wednesday or the last Wednesday? Does anyone have, do we want to pick one next time we get 5 Wednesdays in a month? So just do the 4th Wednesday or the last Wednesday? Fourth.
Last Wednesday.
Ah,
Because we typically do not meet the week November.
right, those don't count. Yeah,
right.
November.
So because that's another month that usually that sometimes you end up at 5.
Mm-hmm.
Before Thanksgiving. So, other than November, I think if last is consensus, that works.
Okay. Sorry, Debbie.
I actually don't have like a huge preference. I just felt like somebody needed to pick one of those options, or we would all sit here in silence forever thinking about it.
Okay, maybe we'll just stick with our fourth Wednesday, and next time I'll pay better attention to the calendar and we can talk about it before.
Fourth works too. Yep.
Yeah, communication. So Matt Alshouse from Bobcat, who is the biggest property manager in the West Winters Fire Safe Council, wants to give a little update, which would be great.
Thanks, Tanya. Hey, everyone. My camera's not working right now, so you'll have to look at my photo. Just wanted to give an update on sort of the ways that we're prepping for fire season. CAL FIRE has been out here for the past several months conducting an archaeological survey along our frontage with Highway 128. So basically our entire southern border. And that's part of the development of a VMP, a vegetation management plan, that will sort of be the basis for fire and fuels management on the property for the next 5 years. So kudos to CAL FIRE. Their archaeologists and biologists have been out here for several months. And we're planning the prescribed fire along the entire frontage. So our entire border along 128. They're hoping to get the Delta crews out here. So Chief Anthony and Trevin have been working closely with them. We've also used prescribed grazing on several of our external partners, or sorry, some of our external neighbors. We've been using grazing to reduce fire risk. So the highway field where the ignition source is for the majority of the fires along the highway, we've grazed down lower than we usually do. We have a fire break going through the center of the ranch. That's basically an extension of County Road 34 that is a fire break. So we've done several fuels reduction projects, removing ladder fuels and grazing it down a little bit lower. And then later this month, CAL FIRE is going to bring in some dozers and graders to maintain our fire lines, especially our borders along Golden Bear. So feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions.
Oh,
Thanks,
that's
Tanya.
great. That's great news, Matt. Thank you. And here's a photo that I took last time I was out there of those that's looking to the northeast.
I'd love to share a photo of
2.49.
I'd love to show a photo of the grazed versus ungrazed. So the
I know.
the Caltrans frontage or their right of way between the highway and the fence is pretty phenomenal. It's a lot of growth, and we had 400 animals in that field for almost 6 weeks. And there's places, I mean, you can definitely tell, but there's places where you can't even tell they were there.
Yeah, here's the looking north or southeast.
When was this photo taken, Tanya?
The 3rd of April.
Cool.
When I was out there with the Delta crew. Okay.
All right.
Well, I realized also I usually have my map when I'm pointing out projects. Is that something that is too dizzying or something that you guys like to see?
Map's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yep, maps are pretty awesome. So I will bring up my map for my next report, and I'll also have some before and after pictures from Dry Creek.
Okay. All right. Well, at this point, I think we're back to the consensus is the fourth Wednesday of the month
For now.
for now. I didn't look, I was going to look at a calendar. That is the 27th. I haven't.
That is the fourth Wednesday. I only have 4 Wednesdays in
Wednesdays
April.
in May because, yeah.
May.
All right.
Yeah, May.
So, looking for a motion to adjourn and set the next meeting, a motion and a second to adjourn and set the next meeting then.
So moved.
All right, Don
A second again.
and Jesse, thank you. All in favor to adjourn and set the next meeting for Wednesday, May 27th, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. All right. Thank everybody. Thank you. And thank you, Tanya and the RCD for all your great work and really everybody. But we'll see you in May.
All right. Thank you.